Okay, it's been a while since I actually made another vlog about my desperate attempts to get published, but part of the reason I was just waiting to finish the query and start actually sending it out, but I'm still waiting for some people to get back to me on whether or not they think it's good. And also, frankly, I'm still trying to make a couple of decisions before I jump into the process. I might consider hiring an editor on this one, which I don't have the money for that, but sure, why not? We'll try something. But I figure I can still make a video about what the next step is once you have a query and a synopsis and all that stuff ready and are actually looking for an agent to send it to. Now, if you Google everything online, you will find 7 million articles, websites, blogs, and videos telling you that you need to devote your entire life to this process. That you should, for every single agent, you should read every single thing they've ever written, read every tweet they've written, every blog, every article, every interview they've ever done. You should see if they have any videos and find out exactly what they're looking for. In fact, I've seen quite a few that said you should scan through the other authors they represent and read some of their books to see what kind of stuff they're actually looking for. And then you can go to their website and find out if they're actually accepting queries at this time. Now, you might have noticed that the process I just explained to you would take forever. And I understand that's what agents want, but okay, we're diving right into this. I've been afraid to make this video for a while because I don't want to piss anyone off who could be, helpful to making my future be what I want it to be. And that means not making any agents angry. But I'm gonna say it. No. All these articles that talk about respecting an agent's time and making sure that your project is literally the one project that they're gonna want before you send it off to them, I think you're missing the boat a little bit. I will try my best. I am going to walk you through the process of how I find agents and make sure that they are the right agent for me, but I want you to keep in mind that I have a day job. I, yes, devote as much time as I can to my writing, but I also want to write and not spend every waking hour of every day trying to find the exactly perfect agent who chances are is going to reject me anyway. Because even at best, people will say you have about a 90% chance of getting rejected by any agent. And on top of that, if you look at half the agent's pages, they will say things like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. But if I like your project, I like your project. I've seen a metric shit ton of agents that say things like, I'm not really interested in fantasy, but if I like your writing and characters enough, I might be. Go ahead and send it. See what happens. So, yeah. And also, when it comes to a matter of respecting people's time, I understand. I'm not trying to kill your inbox with buttloads and buttloads of useless queries. But also take in mind, I've spent hours and hours and hours of work putting that together. You can read it in under probably 5 minutes. And hell, for that matter, if you're just not in the mood for fantasy, you can literally just read the word fantasy and delete it. You can literally just look at the word count and say, hey, I'm not into longer projects right now, delete. Or I'm not into shorter projects right now, delete. Or, oh, this mentions wolves, I'm not into wolves, delete. It will take you 10 seconds. And half the time, agents nowadays don't send rejections anyway, they just leave you hanging and you gotta assume you've been rejected. Or they send one-sentence rejections. I'm gonna show y'all something. Okay, so we'll come to this in a minute. We're gonna go to my email. I'm gonna cover up a name here because it's not my right to tell people about who this was. But I would like to point out that this is a real rejection I have gotten. You will notice it is one sentence, not capitalized, and just says, thank you for your query, but I'm not interested. That is what I got. 4 months after I sent a query that I spent probably well over 10 hours putting together. So, yeah. This is my master document of every agent I've ever queried. There are some lines that are hidden because the agencies do not exist anymore or just are clearly not meant for me, and I've finally decided to stop bothering them. But I have agencies, which projects. You'll notice there are a lot of projects here because I am not succeeding at life. Then we have notes. And notes, I put things that are important, like this agent represents one of my favorite authors, or this agent represents this kind of fiction and I don't think they're for me. This one has the best website. This one's a bit too literary for me. This one sends really great rejections. Where are we? Scroll up for... Where is Jay's? Yeah, he gives the best rejections ever, so I've queried him dozens of times just because I like his rejections. But important stuff like that, but also things like when I've had success with them. If somebody requested pages, if somebody requested a manuscript, just so I know who seems to be working for me. I also have a column for can I query other agents in this agency? Because sometimes some agencies will say that once you've queried somebody in the agency, if you get a rejection, that's a rejection from all of them. Do not send another query for that project. Some agencies say once you have been rejected, you can send it to somebody else within that agency. And some agencies don't say either way, but when I know, I try to mark it. Also, I have started listing the websites of each agency just to make them easier to find, but I also do a tab for each individual project. And what I'll do with this tab is I just list the agent, the agency, when I sent the query, when I was rejected, if they requested any pages, or general notes. You'll notice that most recent project, I queried 85 different agents before I sort of gave up. That's actually down from previous projects where I have gone over 100 a couple of times before I just gave up. And from what I've seen online, that's not that unusual. So yeah, expect to query a lot of agents. And the important thing, the reason this document needs to exist for you is it is a hard and fast rule across the board. You do not query the same agent multiple times for the same project. That is a no. Unless they specifically ask you to, once you are rejected, you are rejected. You need to move on. Now, the yellow highlights here is something that I used to do, that once I'd been rejected by an agent at a specific agency, I'd go back to that page to see if I could query anyone else. And if I could, I sent the queries, and if I couldn't, I'd highlight it as a yellow to show, yeah, I'm done with that agency now. I don't really do that so much anymore because I'm doing it in a slightly different system. I also like this document because once I'm done with all the online sources to find agents, I now use it to literally just scroll down and be like, have I queried this agency? Have I queried this agency? Have I queried this agency? And sometimes you'll see there's a dash, and that just means that, like, I looked over the webpage, I looked at all the agents, and just there wasn't anyone at the agency for me at that time. Or like my book didn't sound right for that agency, or for whatever reason, I just decided not to, but I did not decide to go ahead and take them off my list. You'll notice there are some lines that are missing, and those are people usually who the agency, I'm pretty sure, closed down. But of course, you do not have my list. You do not have this giant compendium of all the different literary agencies I've ever seen. So how do you start one? If you are just starting out, you're going to need an agent search page. I started with agentquery.com just because it was the first one I found. I do not think it's the better page. Agentquery.com is pretty simple. You just select a genre. For me, it's fantasy. Quick search. Okay, so you'll get a page that looks like this. Once you're on this page, you can see that, you know, I have 161 pages of results. And each page has, I think it's like 8 agents on it. This doesn't have that much information right here, and also some of this information will be wrong, I can tell you right away. But you can also click on the individual agent to get more information, but this is just compiled from random places online as far as I can tell. So from Agent Query, I very strongly suggest go to the website. check to make sure that what is on Agent Query is correct. So I've stopped using Agent Query, also because searching it was difficult for me, I didn't like it. And instead I've moved over to Manuscript Wishlist. This one I like a lot more because it has more information and it seems to be controlled by the agents themselves. Therefore, it's going to be more accurate. When you come to this page, you select, if you're looking for an agent, you select agent. If you're looking for an editor, you select editor. And then you select your genre, then you hit search. This confused me endlessly the first time I came here because I hit search and nothing happened. And I was like, oh my God, it's not working. Why can't I get it to work? Then eventually I realized, you gotta scroll down. They're all underneath. It is alphabetized. You can just select a random agent and you get a lot more information on them. You get a lovely picture so you can connect to them emotionally and therefore be even more hurt when they reject you. There's usually a little bit of bio. This one doesn't have much of a bio. There's often section where they just tell you what they're looking for. Usually there's genres listed here and subgenres. Then there's also this section right here, which is going to be usually your most useful, though not all the agents use it equally. Quite often this is where you're going to find stuff that's literally like, I'm looking for the next Game of Thrones. I'm looking for the next... I can't think of anything else at the moment. The next American Horror Story, but in book form. Sometimes it's literally just shit they like, which, yeah, is useful because it tells you what kind of stuff they like, and you could be like, oh, she likes Interview with a Vampire? I mean, are we talking about the movie or the book? But, sometimes there's more information there, sometimes there's less. It varies wildly, but there's usually also a section, wow, she has a lot of stuff to scroll by. She also, some of them do this, which I love, the ones that just say, I'm not the best person for this. That's really useful. I love it when agents do that. And they'll have submission guidelines. I do not just use these submission guidelines and trust and build off of that because I've seen them be wrong before. What I like to do is go to the agent's website, which strangely the usually easiest way is just click guidelines and details, and they'll take you directly to the website. Once I'm at a website, I don't just assume that the agent I found is the one I'm going to go with. I like to, which by the way, this I love. Thank you for being clear and upfront right at the top, who is open and who is closed, because the most infuriating thing that has ever happened to me in my life is when I spent hours and hours and hours putting together a query, searched everywhere online, saw nothing that said the agent was closed, and then sent it and immediately got a reply saying this agent is currently closed to queries. Don't do that to me. It's not cool. I don't love it. There's also quite often a section that tells you just like what the agency requires. But when I get to each agency, I like to go to the About People, which sometimes it's hard to figure out which one you're looking for. This is the right one for here. Just to look at everybody's bio. You can also always, quite often there's more information. There will be a little mini bio and you click on them to find out more about them. And quite often you'll see different information here. It's not always more, sometimes it's less, but quite often there's more information. And more importantly, you can go through and look at every agent at the website, at the agency, because not every agent is on Manuscript Wishlist. So if I happen to find Ada Lily and go to KT Literary and search through it, I might find out that while she covers my genre, she doesn't cover my subgenre. And there's somebody else at the agency that is perfect for me. So I like to do that. And if they seem like the exact agent that I have been looking for all my life, if they feel like they are part of my soul, I will go read everything they've ever written about being an agent, about looking for books, about their tweets, just in general, which is how I found one agent that had not put it anywhere in the bios or anything, but they said that they immediately reject anything that starts with a character waking up. And I'm like, Cool, good to know. I won't send you the book where a character wakes up at the beginning. Okay, one more website that you might find useful for finding agents. I've never actually used this one as a search, so I'm not sure how it would work as a search, but a lot of agents will list their publisher's marketplace. This is another basically agency listing website. And sometimes there's more information here, sometimes there's more information on agent queries, sometimes there's more information on manuscript wish list. Quite often, I end up finding myself reading through all three plus the website to see what I'm looking for. But I find that Publisher's Marketplace sometimes more just has stuff about the agency than about the agent, but I'm not sure, like, I haven't used it as much. I usually use it as a tertiary source, primarily just because I don't like the way the website looks. Like, I find it hard to read. But it's another source that you can call up if you're looking for a way to find agents. But once I have queried an agent, I make sure to put it in my lovely spreadsheet so that I do not accidentally re-query them multiple times. Yeah, so that's my process of how to find an agent. Can't tell you it's the best one, because frankly, if it was, I would already have an agent and be published, but it's what I'm trying to work with. I would like to also end this video with just a plea to all the agents out there. And not a plea to publish me, though, yeah, a plea to, get representation is part of this. But more importantly, for every aspiring author out there, I'm going to ask that please, on your website, at the top of your bios, list what you represent. Be as specific as you can. And if you are one of those people that is not specific and covers everything, go ahead and just say it. If you like super specific things, say it. If you are closed to submissions, for the love of God, say it. But just tell us what you're looking for. And don't expect us to search it down across the entirety of the internet. Because sometimes we just aren't going to be able to find that one thing that said, you do not represent books with characters named Leo, or whatever. Just tell us right away and we will be better about what we send you. Also, know that I don't find it insulting when you send me a form rejection. Like, it's fine, I don't care. I don't find it that insulting when you don't send me anything. Like, I've gotten used to it, I accept it. What I do find insulting is when you send me a half a sentence that's not even fucking capitalized. But overall, understand that we understand, but understand we're also gonna send you queries. 'Cause if I don't try everyone, then my chance of finding the right one is significantly lower.